It's Dolores' world, and we just live in it. Let's get started. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hey everybody, welcome to Thumb Together. My name is Andrew Fantasia, and today we're going to be talking about Westworld, 2 episodes of it, because I'm a little bit behind. We're talking about Season 4, Episode 4, Generation Lost, and Episode 5. I hope I'm saying this right. Zhuangzi. Work kept me pretty occupied last week, so that's why we're jumping back to episode 4 for a bit. Thankfully, episode 4 wasn't the kind of episode that raises a whole bunch of questions and a whole bunch of theories. It was more the kind that answers / debunks / proves them. So there's not a whole lot to do except recap what ended up happening. And what ended up happening was we lost Caleb and Maeve, man. Kind of, sort of. We definitely lost Caleb. Maeve just keeps coming back. She's like Super Mario. As long as she's got some mushrooms in her pocket, she's good. But one of the first fan theories that really got proved right in the last week's episode was that C, this lady that we only know as C, who is a rebel who rides fancy dune buggies across the desert, is in fact Frankie, Caleb's daughter, and we are living in the future. We are living 23 years in the future, to be precise. It's been 23 years since Caleb and Maeve got shot in that quarry. Now, I say shot, but that might not be accurate because it's not, unless I'm remembering wrong. It's been a long week, but I don't think we saw exactly how Caleb dies. They just kind of say, hey man, you dead. Caleb was, as far as I know, our last main human character. And now that's gone too. So the only humans we have left is this new batch that we've met, these rebels, C, and this other guy whose name I don't know yet, but he's got a really cool helmet. He looks like Daft Punk in that helmet. I'm digging this. There are only humans that we know of. Everybody else is, in fact, a robot. Those rebels unearth Maeve's body, which has been lying in that quarry for 23 years, and they're going to use her to somehow get this rebellion started. And what are they rebelling against? This evil, scary tower in the middle of New York City, well, in the middle of New York Harbor, that Charlotte is using to control all the world with presumably this fly bacteria, because after these 23 years have gone by, Charlotte has in fact taken over the world, which in this guy's opinion is just a really cool dystopia to greet us as we wake up 23 years later. And it only gets more frightening as we move on to last night's episode, Zhuangzi. I really wish I knew how to pronounce that properly. I hope I'm at least saying it like 80% right. Maybe. But it starts with William in this fancy schmancy restaurant, and he's hypnotizing these two people, or at least he's using the bacteria to hypnotize them by just kind of making them act against their will. And he's talking to them about how, hey, I'm your friend, and we love each other, and you just saw me 5 minutes ago, and you don't even know my name. And it plays with them, and it plays with the audience, because we're thinking the same thing. Who are these people? And that is my first question of this whole thing, is who are these people? And what does William want with them? He said they represent a very important investment, and they seem like really stuck-up rich people. At least the guy does. The girl didn't say too much. So what's their deal, and why are they such an important investment? And thanks to some really cool evil monologuing from Charlotte and from William, we learn a lot about how this new dystopian world works. First of all, Tessa does some really nifty supervillain dancing among her crowd of human slaves. This is true, like this is the most villainous anybody has ever been on this show, and it's a lot of fun. It's comic booky, but it's a lot of fun. It's just seeing her dance among this sea of hosts and making them form chairs for her so she can sit like Cleopatra. And at one point she even almost looked like she was going to pull a Basic Instinct move, and I was like, but we learn that there are still outliers here, just like there were when Rehoboam was scanning humans back in season 3. And whenever an outlier pops up, whenever they break the mold and break free of this bacteria programming, the hosts turn it into a game where they hunt them down for sport throughout the city. Now, the word game is dropped a lot in that regard. And I can't help but think when I'm watching this, and I've thought this before throughout this whole show, particularly last season, but now in this episode for sure, is I get a lot of vibes of the video game Watch Dogs during all of this, and I can't help but think, damn, a Westworld video game would be a lot of fun. Warner Brothers, Nolan's, if you want to, get on this, I know the Batman Begins game did not do well because it was the Batman Begins game, but if you want to actually get some people to try and make a good game out of Westworld, I'm not going to complain. And Tessa's evil tower is invisible to everyone. Something the bacteria makes it so that you can't see it. It's not actually invisible. It's a real thing. You can go up and touch it. It's just these fly bacteria things make you just unable to see it because they create an ignorance. And that gives this whole episode a lot of Matrix vibes because Teddy, who finally went on a date with Christina last week, is basically pulling Morpheus duty. He is waking Christina up and he is giving her the red pill. And he's like, hey, look at that tower. You don't see it yet? Give it time. Oh, you see it now. Yeah, well, welcome to the real world-ish. You've been living a lie. And now that she's awake and now that I've been proven wrong because I thought she was in a simulation this whole time, but she is awake and aware in this reality, and she's using her storytelling powers to create the narratives that I'm assuming, and I think this is what's going on. I could be wrong, but I think what she's doing in her job is creating the narrative paths that the bacteria is making these people run. She's creating everybody's circuit. She has become the Sizemore of this world, which raises the second question then. Where did this Teddy come from? And how did he get here? You don't just walk out of the valley beyond. One does not simply walk out of the valley beyond. It's heaven. You don't want to leave there. Toys R Us didn't close down there, probably. I'm assuming. They've got a Toys R Us on every corner. Finally, we have William, who opens and closes this episode with some really nice monologuing. And William is going through a robo midlife crisis. He knows he was built in the image of regular William, but he's not really sure what his purpose is. And now this is where the episode's title comes in. I had to look this up because, you know, the Nolans and Joy, they get kind of pretentious with their episode titles every now and then. So when I saw Zhuang Zi, I was like, okay, what am I in for here? So I had to do some research. This is what I found. I say research, like this is Wikipedia. Don't be impressed. Zhuang Zi was a philosopher who was heavily involved in the philosophy of Taoism. And I was looking up what kind of philosophy Zhuang Zi wrote. And this particular one is the most indicative of what we saw in last night's episode between Real William and Robo William, where there's two people looking at a pond and they see some fish. And one person says, "Do you see how the fish are coming to the surface and swimming around as they please? That's what fish really enjoy." The second person says, "You are not a fish. So how can you say you know what fish really enjoy?" To which the first person replies, "You are not me. So how can you know I don't know what fish enjoy?" There's almost an Abbott and Costello quality to that, but you get the idea. It's you have no idea what it is to be me, so how can you presume anything about me and what I am and who I am and what I like and what I don't? And that's a taste of what the conversation is like between William Prime and Robo William. You were made in my image. Yeah, but I'm nothing like you and you're nothing like me and you never will be because you'll never know what it's like to be me. And there's this back and forth. So I feel like William, the robot, has been told by Tessa that he is to take the place of the real William, but be better than him and do all the things that the real William failed to do because he was an enemy of Tessa's. Why do I keep calling her Tessa? Her name is Charlotte. Clearly, I'm just too deeply in love to use her fake name. So Robo William has grown with this idea of there's this lofty achievement that I have to strive for because it's expected of me, because it was expected of him, and I have to be better than him. But I can't be better than him because I don't know what it's like to be him. And oh my God, I've gone cross-eyed. So of course he's going to have a midlife crisis or a robo-life crisis or whatever you want to call it. Of course, because so much is going on and it literally, to use the old joke, it does not compute. So I think this is a seed. This is a germination of a seed that's planted inside Robo William. And this is my theory this week. This is going to be the beginning of what takes down Charlotte. Yes, the rebels and, you know, Bernard and Stubbs, and eventually, I'm assuming, Christina and Teddy, all these rebel characters and C, they're going to band together and get Maeve up and running and go up against the evil empire that is the New Delos. And maybe they'll get close, But William is going to be that seed. He's going to be that Luke Skywalker who, the rebellion can go and blow up as many Death Stars as they want, but unless you put Luke in that throne room and he goes up against Vader and the Emperor, you're not taking those guys down. This sounds really exciting to me, and there's already only 3 episodes left this season. I don't know how much they have planned, but all I know is that we are steamrolling close to the end, and the next episode is called Fidelity, which is a really fun word to say. And it's also kind of an important Westworld word. So anyway, that has been Westworld Season 4, Episodes 4 and 5. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you here next time. Until then, these violent delights have violent ends.